Hey there riders, Motojourno Chris. First impressions of the Yamaha R3 are very impressed. I have to say it's been a number of years since I rode the last R3 and it's always been an awesome machine. But I'm not going to try and compare it too much. There's not really a significant performance change on this model. The big changes are the suspension, the big changes are the styling, and how the tank has effectively been kind of remodeled to make for a nicer seating position for the rider. Now, jumping on, I have to say probably what stood out the most is the fact that this engine is a real belter. It's very, very taut. There's very nice power everywhere. It really appreciates being revved out right up into that rev range. And when you do that, it is beautiful. It does not feel like a 320cc. It feels like a bigger bike. And Yamaha have been doing this for a while. Both the R3 and the M207 really made an impact on the lamb segment. So, you know, they know what they're doing, and they've just further refined this machine, which does bring me to the suspension. So there's a new fork. It's actually down from 41mm to 37mm, but essentially a better fork in the front end, upside down fork. And on top of that, it's got a revised shock spring, and overall very nice and sporty suspension. I'm only 70 kilos plus gear. However, for me, it's definitely on the sportier side, but it's also comfortable. It's handled all of these general road riding kind of poor Australian / New South Wales road surface duties very, very easily. It is a little bit firm, but I mean that is essentially what you want for having a good bit of a fang. And we have to keep in mind that while most of the people riding these bikes are riding them on the road, there's also all the race series and everything like that which use these. And depending on the restrictions in those series, having this bike in as good a form as possible so that people can just jump on them and race them is obviously pretty big too. So ergonomics wise, I have to say, even though it's a 22mm lower bar, I'm not really noticing that change personally. But as I said, it's been a few years since I've jumped on this bike, and the ergonomics are just really, really nice and inviting. It's got a nice upright seating position. I have to say, having just jumped on this bike and been so happy with the overall ergonomics, it's hard to think that the bars were actually significantly taller on the previous model, because it just feels right. And I mean, it is a little bit sportier for those who are going to make that comparison, because having those lower bars does make it a bit more of a sporty ergonomic. However, at the same time, it's such an easy thing to ride, and it feels so light and very, very easy to jump on and just feel at home on, that I don't really feel like it's losing any of that lamb's friendliness. Anyway, I'll do a further update as I put more Ks on the bike. So it's very much just the first impressions based on the changes. Also going to be heading to the track to test out this machine, which should be fun. I am by no means the fastest person out there, but I still really enjoy going to the track and having a bit of a crack, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's very hard to do that on the roads these days. And I will be back soon with a more in-depth look at Yamaha's 2019 YZF-R3, or R3 as it's more commonly known by us riders.